After Hu Bayi removed the mask of the elite queen, Shirley Yang suddenly disappeared. However, what made Hu Bayi feel the most uncomfortable was not this, but the fact that the fat man in front of him, who had a fear of heights, seemed to have forgotten his phobia. "What? My ears are ringing, I can't hear you," Hu Bayi thought, his mind a blank. The sudden changes had caused him to forget about the fat man's fear of heights. But when he became confused, he remembered that the fat man's companions couldn't have come here. Realizing this, Hu Bayi turned around and swung a shovel. At that moment, a gunshot startled Hu Bayi, and he vaguely heard someone calling his name. Although Hu Bayi didn't fully understand what was going on, he instinctively moved away from the stone bridge where the statue magic domain was located. After meeting up with the fat man again, he finally realized what had just happened. "You walked to the middle of the stone bridge and acted like you were sleepwalking. What was that mess you were swinging around? If it weren't for my fear of heights, I would have hit you earlier," the fat man said. Thanks to his fear of heights, the fat man had not been able to act sooner. After hearing this, Hu Bayi realized that what they had experienced were illusions created by the statue magic domain. It could interfere with people's minds through color and smell. The stone bridge was within its controlled area. The fat man became angrier and began shooting at the statue magic domain. Strangely, bullets hit directly, causing green liquid to drip onto the stone material, which quickly transformed into red flowers, slowly moving toward them. These were higanbana, red spider lilies, flowers that supposedly bloom at the boundary between life and death and are considered ominous. They are also known as flowers on the road to the underworld. After devouring the body of Sudipeng, the flowers began to spread across the stone bridge and rapidly advanced toward Hu Bayi and the others. With no time to think, they tried to escape, carrying Professor Cheng and the others on their backs. However, the flowers spread too quickly, and their path was blocked. Their only option was to hide in a crevice within the mountain. At that moment, the Queen of the Exquisite Dead unexpectedly appeared on the stone bridge and slowly opened her eyes. It seemed as though the higanbana were under her control, attempting to trap Hu Bayi and his group. However, the group did not see this. They were focused on finding a way to avoid the attack of the flowers, using the crevice as their refuge. The flowers kept chasing them. "What should we do?" the fat man asked. Hu Bayi suggested, "Throw the dynamite." The fat man threw it, which repelled the flowers but caused the surroundings to collapse, forcing them to run even faster. They eventually arrived at what seemed to be a tomb-like cave. Inside, there was an ancient chest, and two mummified bodies sat nearby, seemingly guarding the stone chest. After searching the area for a while without finding a way out, they placed their hopes on the stone chest. The murals on the chest revealed that one of the mummies was a prophet, and the elderly figure behind him appeared to be his servant. The chest contained several images that, when pieced together, resembled an ancient prophecy. The prophet had foretold that after his death, people would come to the cave, open the stone chest, and find the way out. However, the group had 5 people: Hu Bayi, the fat man, Shirley Yang, the unconscious Professor Cheng, and Xiao Yan. If the prophet wasn't a fraud, the prophecy wouldn't match their group. Unless one of us isn't human, Hu Bayi realized. As he pondered this, Shirley Yang discovered the last part of the prophecy. One of the 4 people would open the stone chest, and the fat man came up with a plan to break the prophecy. Just as they were about to act, Professor Cheng suddenly woke up, behaving erratically, which seemed to confirm that something was wrong. Almost simultaneously, the unconscious Xiaoyan suddenly started convulsing and then died. The now mad Professor Cheng, taking advantage of everyone's distraction, pushed open the lid of the stone chest, fulfilling the prophecy. Hu Bayi couldn't help but feel confused. According to the prophecy, only 4 people were supposed to open the chest, but they had 5. Shirley Yang threw the Mogu talisman, a protective amulet, to Hu Bayi, proving she wasn't the demon. This cleared her name. Meanwhile, Professor Cheng began raving again. The group debated who the demon might be. The fat man suggested testing Shirley Yang with the black donkey hooves, a mystical object used for exorcism. Shirley Yang refused, which made her more suspicious. At this point, Hu Bayi and the fat man were beginning to suspect her. However, when Shirley Yang proved she wasn't the demon, their suspicion shifted. Just then, Professor Cheng woke up again and started acting irrationally. The fat man tried to force the black donkey hooves into his mouth, and Shirley Yang fired a shot to stop him. The gunshot awakened Hu Bayi, who realized the danger. When the fat man urged him to shoot and kill Shirley Yang, Hu Bayi unexpectedly slapped the fat man. Confused, Hu Bayi moved toward the stone chest again, but this time something strange happened. The second prophecy on the chest disappeared. "What do you see? Why is it empty?" Hu Bayi asked. He then realized everything they had experienced was an illusion. The gunshot from Shirley Yang had pulled him out of the illusion, just like the moment when he had heard a gunshot earlier. All of this was a trick by the statue magic domain. Since the moment the Higanbana appeared, the illusion field had expanded. When the fat man fired his gun, the Higanbana bloomed. As it turned out, the Higanbana were just another illusion, part of the statue magic domain's plan to trap them in the mountain. They had inadvertently arrived at the tomb of the prophet, whose powers were limited inside this place. The illusions were no longer strong enough to continue. The prophet's tomb had revealed the way out, and inside the chest was an ancient book made of sheepskin, which depicted the secrets of the ghost cave. The reason Zagrama Mountain was called the Divine Mountain was because of the ghost cave. Everyone wanted to know what was inside. A high priest had made a jade eyeball to peer into the cave and had invited many monstrous serpents, causing the tribe to fall under a curse. Fortunately, the tribe's prophet had emerged, and it was this prophet's tomb they were now in. The prophet had also predicted that Hu Bayi and his companions would come to the cave. Just then, the professor went mad and grabbed the ancient book, turning the last page. But this was all part of the prophecy's design. As soon as the page was turned, the cave began shaking, and 3 passages appeared. Shirley Yang, following the direction pointed out by the prophet's finger, found the correct path. As the cave collapsed, they managed to escape, but the sandstorm from the prophecy was also arriving. If they hadn't met Amlaman, they would have been buried by the storm. But just when they thought they had escaped, something strange happened again. The 3 archaeologists, who had clearly died, crawled out of the sand. Hu Bayi asked the question on his mind, and Chu Jian finally explained the truth of the matter. The group had split up earlier, and it turned out that the 3 archaeologists had not entered the ghost cave. Instead, they had gone to find Amlaman. This meant that what Hu Bayi had thought were illusions caused by the statue magic domain were actually real events. Now Hu Bayi realized that these illusions were very powerful. They could create false realities based on people's thoughts, and these illusions had even affected their subconscious minds, leading them to believe things that weren't true. In the end, after narrowly escaping the cave, they found clues about the ghost cave's secret and its connection to the prophet's ancient prophecy. But their journey was far from over. The path ahead was still filled with mystery and danger.